In today's practice, I would say, in my daily practice, at least 50 to 60% of the cases that I see are all acute exacerbations of the chronic disease or acute disease in itself. In fact, friends, in the very early years of my practice, I remember when I just started practice, if a patient started running fever, the patient would come to me and tell me, बुखार हुआ है, डॉक्टर के पास जाएं? मैं कौन है? थोड़े साल और गए, उसके बाद में the statement changed. बुखार हुआ है, बड़े डॉक्टर के पास जाए. And friends, like this now today, I'm very happy to say that today we have our allopathic counterparts who actually call us up and, like Dr. Anand, support us and say, here is a problem, we can't treat it, can you? I started my practice in a place where G6PD is rampant. G6PD is glucose 6-phosphate deficiency. And where there is G6PD, there are hordes of allopathic medicines which cannot be consumed or else it would result into hemolysis. So as a result of which, I was surrounded by cases of malaria because anti-malarials could not be consumed. I was surrounded by cases of fever because antipyretics in terms of ibugesics and so on could not be given to those patients. Antihelminthics could not be given to the patient. A long list of antibiotics could not be consumed, and I had the good fortune that the GPs of the area would call up and say, we are helpless because the patient has G6PD, please try and do what you can do. And treating them helped me to enhance my experience in treating acute cases, and if I could do it for G6PD, then why could we not duplicate our result for other patients also? In today's practice, we have all sorts of acutes which pour in. We have acute tonsillitis, we have bronchospasms, we have burns, we have hand-foot-mouth disease, we have neuralgias, we have panic attacks, and I'm sure this is an experience with all the panelists over here may be sharing also. And all these we have been able to manage with homeopathic medications only. In fact, friends, last year we had an outbreak of dengue. And we decided to count the amount of dengue cases that were pouring in. We had around 24 to 25 dengue cases which came in. I am happy to tell you all, not a single patient needed hospitalization. Wow. Each and every case was treated effectively. Laboratory investigations were done. Clinically, patient was evaluated. Every 24 hours, we used to call the patient to find out exactly what is happening. And we are happy to say that none of them required hospitalization at all. Friends, very early in practice, I used to find that if I ever sent a patient for an investigation, the patient never came back. And I'm sure a lot of you also must have gone through that, the practitioners. If the patient went to a sonologist, the sonologist will say, there's a cyst inside, I think you need to see the gynac on SOS basis. To me, my scale of measuring where we have reached is, today I am happy to tell you, the same sonologist tell the patient, listen, just before going to the gynac, why don't you just see the homeopath? This to me is progress in the field of homeopathy. I understand that as patients, you may have had various experiences, and as doctors, we do have various experiences too. In fact, as patients, you must realize that your doctor has to actually go down to your level to be able to understand the pain that you are going through. It is very interesting that the other day I had a patient, and she is a very high IAS officer, IPS officer in the police force. And I was asking her about her nature. So I said, can you tell me something about your nature? And she told me, I am the best criminal that you can actually have. So I looked at her, I said, no, I'm asking about you. So she said, you must bear in mind one thing, that only a criminal can catch a criminal. Okay, so a policeman needs to be an astute, have a criminal thinking to be able to get to the criminal. So similarly, your homeopath asks you all sorts of funny questions. And because they need to really understand you, only if they are, that's why you had people asking you about the field, some say this, some say that, because they need to understand the real you within you. I remember when I was very young in my practice and there was an uneducated lady who came in, and since I work a lot on temperaments, I asked her, I said, "Aapka sabhav kaisa hai, benti?" So she looked at me and said, "Kya?" So I said, "Aapka sabhav kaisa hai?" She said, "Jaisa aapka hai, waisa mera." The moment she said, "Jaise aapka hai, mera," I said, "Aap to mere ko pehchante nahi ho, to aapko mera ka sabhav kaise pata chala?" Pata nahi chalta, insaan ka sabhav insaan jaisa hota hai. Now for a homeopath, this is a dead end. Okay, you can knock your head against the wall and you get lost in there. Okay. And to top it all, she was muttering away saying, "Aayi hu ghutne ke liye, pooch rahi hai sabhav kaisa hai." So bear in mind, why does a homeopath ask you all these questions? The homeopath asks you all these questions because we need to understand you. We need to stand in your shoes to feel the pain that you are experiencing. Today, homeopathy is a science which is judged by its results. And it is results that speak for us. We are very happy that we have so much amount of integration these days, and it is this integration which will carry homeopathy a lot further. I would end by saying that if the I becomes the we, illness will always become wellness.